welcome everybody to the Washington State Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am Julia Pardo, and I'm very excited to say that I will be getting coached on the show today by Jan, and we can just jump right in to your coaching call. Jan, do you want to start by just giving an introduction of yourself? And
thanks for having me on, Julia. My name is Jan. I am a full-time real estate investor since 2016, so coming up on 7 years here, and absolutely love it. Best job ever. I started with residential single-family investments like most of us, and then transitioned into small multifamily, and now I focus on mobile home parks. So own a couple hundred cash flowing rental units, and absolutely love what real estate investment has done for my life, what it's done for the properties that I purchase, and for being able to provide clean, safe, and affordable housing. My mission is to provide clean, safe, and affordable housing to 10,000 humans, and that's what I do on the commercial side. I really love doing residential remodels as well, and so that's what I do to have some creative outlet and get to design new spaces. And I run a Facebook group that I started when I first got started with real estate investment, and that's called WARE, Washington Real Estate Investing. And we've got about 20,000 members in that group. It's grown organically, and it's a great place for you to share value with others, to share what you're learning, to find partners, mentors, contractors, you name it. It's probably there in WARE. And so that's a little bit about how I got started and what I do now.
very cool. Yeah, that's how we got connected. I went to a WARE event and got to network and just hear a bunch of speakers, including yourself. So super excited to have you here. And I won a raffle there to get a 30-minute coaching call with you. So I'm excited to just get into that and learn more about the mentorship that you provide for others to help them attain generational wealth through real estate investing as well.
Sure. Yeah, generally, I love working with people, sharing kind of golden nuggets from my journey to see how we can support theirs. And I'd love to talk to you about where you're at in your investing career. Tell me about what you've done so far with investments and what you want to do.
Okay, so I bought my first home, which is a duplex in North Tacoma last year, and I'm going up on my 1 year of being a homeowner this month. And we house hacked, so we live in one unit and rent out the other unit. And when we bought the home, we remodeled it, the upstairs unit, just so we could get top market value. And we did. We got tenants immediately, and we're going to re-sign those tenants now, and we do long-term rental. And our goal is to buy another duplex or multifamily. I want a fourplex, still convincing the husband. He's feeling comfortable with the smaller units right now, but we'll see. We have time. So every 2 years, our goal is to buy another multifamily, house hack it, and continue. And I don't know if I have a specific number of how many rentals I hope to provide for others like you do, which is awesome. But I'm open to figuring out what that number would really mean. Our long-term goal is to buy the forever home that is, for us, it's on lots of acres. We have just land to ourselves and our own home, and then we have passive income coming in through our rental properties. We want to buy and never sell, hold on to them for as long as possible, for forever, hand them down to our future children. I haven't traveled much. I've worked very hard since I turned 18 and moved out. I've just worked a job or 2 or 3 to get going. And so my goal is to just buckle down now, buy those investment properties, and then one day get to use that income to live more freely, I would say.
Okay, awesome. You've bought one duplex and you would like to continue buying cash flowing house hack investments every 2 years for the duration of your career?
Yeah.
Do you want to just keep doing that because that's working well?
I think so. Yeah. It's where I'm comfortable. Being a realtor myself, I like that I can use my commission towards my down payment. And I like that I'm very familiar with our current market. And I also have opportunities for off-market deals for multifamilies as well. And so I feel like this is just where I'm comfortable in an uncomfortable area of investing.
Okay, cool. So it sounded like you have some personal desires to travel more and just have more freedom driven by some of that passive income you would earn from your rental properties. And you want your dream home.
Yep.
Okay. What is there anything else that's driving you? Do you have any other personal or professional goals that you think you could achieve through real estate investment?
I think that I am second generation American. My grandparents were born in Mexico. And so I think too, like that American dream is very strong in me of just wanting to own land here and own homes here. And so that's just something I feel passionate about is just having a property for each child I have and just to have kind of this empire. I don't have children yet, but the goal is to have a home for each one and use that instead of saving for college, having a home to give to each of them when they turn 18. If they want to go to college, if they want to be travelers or entrepreneurs, I just want them to have this investment that hopefully I've paid off by then, by the time they're ready to make that decision. And I can say, you can sell it, you can live in it, you can rent it out and get that income. I just want to have options for them. And yeah, just them have more of freedom at the age of 18 than I did. When I turned 18, I moved out immediately and worked 3 jobs, like until very recently when I became a full-time realtor. And so I hope when my kids get that age, they get to make more fun choices than I had to at that age.
So, Julia, it sounds like you also, in addition to gaining freedom and the passive income and working towards your dream house, you also want to take care of your family and have generational wealth. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, generally, you thought it was cool that I have a unit number. You thought it was cool I have a number of tenant basically goal. I want to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to 10,000 people. And the thing is, like, that's not really tied to my financial goals, but it's also just like an impact number for me. For you, since your initial goal and my initial goals were all based on financial freedom as well. And so I think this is where we start when we get interested in financial literacy. We start with the target of financial freedom. And that's a great target because you can't even have time freedom or start working on deep emotional, personal freedoms until you have financial freedom. Because otherwise you're just concerned about security. Where's my next rent payment going to come from? How do I feed my family, et cetera? So I think you're at a perfect starting point, which is, okay, you want financial freedom. So now I think more interestingly than figuring out anything about like assets under management, I think it's just like, all right, how much cash, how much passive income do you need? And that's based on what is your lifestyle like? And have you thought about that at all? Like how can you comfortably live or live the lifestyle you want to live? And like, how much does that cost per month? Have you thought about that number?
Yes, not to a super specific number. Another part of my goal is to retire my husband by 30. He's 26 now. He does a blue collar job and it's tough on his body. My dad grew up blue collar and it's something I'd love to get him out of by the time he's 30. And so 4 more years from now where he can maybe switch over to more real estate or property management or just something different that's not going to be so taxing on him. And so his income is about 80,000 a year. And so for sure we'd have to be able to replace that. And then I'm still working on building up my income too with real estate on my own. So for our investments, I would say it'd have to be the number that I've ran before is like 117,000 a year.
In annual passive income? Okay, great. So if your husband's at 80 and let's say you want to be close to there as well from a lifestyle perspective, minimum, let's say 120, that's simple to back into. So that's 10 grand a month, right? You need 10 grand a month of passive income. And your first property you live in, right? So we can't get a true idea of how much passive income it would generate since you live there. But if you moved out and rented it tomorrow, how much do you think you would be cash flowing from that one property?
Minimum $500. Our interest rate's pretty high,
great.
so it's not ideal yet. So we're definitely excited for a day to refinance, but till then, that's where we're at.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Okay, awesome. And now we could very easily back into what would it take at your exact same current rate of progress and see if you are satisfied with this plan, right? So if you buy a new house hack every 2 years, let's say, and they all cash flow $500, and you need $10,000 per month. 10,000 divided by 500 is 20. You need 20 of those deals, and you're saying you want to buy one every 2 years. So it would take you, at your current plan, if everything goes the same as it went on your first deal, it would take you 40 years to meet your goal of 10 grand a month in passive income. How does that sound?
Too long.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Of course, this doesn't account for inflation or market changes, etc. But I would say this is too long.
Yeah.
So immediately, my first question is, have you considered buying a new house hack every year, at least for the next 3 to 4 years?
It's intimidating. That's where we're feeling 2 years is more comfortable. And then if we did do it this year, like we're thinking about it, I see homes, I send them multifamilies every week, right? That I see. It's just, yeah, it's intimidating. But hearing
what
40
specifically
years
is
to reach our
intimidating
goal
about it?
sounds pretty bad too.
That's intimidating too, right?
Yeah, that is intimidating.
So what specifically is intimidating about it?
I think it's new, right? I'm a landlord now for 1 year, and I take pride in being a good landlord, being the landlord I wish I had when I was renting, and providing safe and reliable housing for others. And so that standard cannot drop. And so I have to maintain the extra income to make sure, like, anytime my tenants let me know something went wrong, I'm up there myself or hiring someone immediately to get it fixed. Whatever it is, I want them to be comfortable. And so it's intimidating growing with more tenants and having to just be prepared for every water heater in every property going out in the same week or things like that. That's just where my mind goes, is to be ready for the worst case scenario.
Right. That makes sense. So it sounds like you feel like you can manage the one duplex you have because you know it, you understand it, you've gotten comfortable with it, and you have the time and capacity and resources to do it. You're proving that to yourself now. But if you were to buy a 20 unit tomorrow, you're not sure if you would have the time, resources, capacity to provide the level of service and housing that you would want. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, what if you already had, let's say, $5,000 a month of passive income coming in, and then your husband could be supporting your investments or both of your investments since you're married? Do you think he would be able to provide support to more units if it was both of you, like tag teaming, and you started creating processes around what needs to happen and what's the best way to deal with it? Would you feel more confident in your ability to manage more units, let's say 5 more?
Yeah, if he quit his other job and went into property management with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you had like his support, it would be less intimidating probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about if you just found really good deals? What if you found way better deals than your first deal? So this one, if you rent it out now, you would make $500 a month in cash flow. What if you found a property that if you just rented it out and you didn't live there, if it generated $1,500 a month in cash flow, would you feel comfortable then spending, let's say, $500 or even $750 or even $1,000 per month in finding the best possible property management company you can and letting them manage it? As long as you had the cash flow, even after they managed it, would that be okay?
Yeah, that would be okay.
Okay.
That would be great.
So here's the thing that, like, I think this is since you're just at the very beginning, even though I'm going to tell you these words, they may not mean anything to you because we all just have to go through this progression. But I just want you to be aware of what the progression looks like, because the sooner you can move to the next step, generally, the more success you're going to find faster. Like in the beginning, I think we're all DIY people. Like you're doing everything yourself. You're like painting walls. You're like unclogging toilets. You're changing light bulbs and cleaning up units and just doing everything yourself because you're like, all right, I got to figure this out. I can't afford property management. I have to squeeze every penny out of this, right? And then after a while, once you get some traction, I think you move to the next step, which is you start hiring generalists You hire someone like maybe your husband, and maybe he's not a hire, maybe he's a partner, but you bring in people that are generalists. They can do a bit of everything. And that's the next step. And so that way, once you bring on someone like a virtual assistant or a partner, they can start doing like half of this day to day stuff that you're having to do. Now, maybe you can focus on what you're a little bit better at, which is, let's say, finding the next deal, right? Something that's going to bring you real money or generate real wealth, as opposed to, unclogging a toilet in your rental. And then
Yeah.
and so that's like the next step is, okay, what if I had help? What if I had another Julia that was doing half this work, which you can hire someone to do that, or find an equity partner that is like wanting to get into real estate and give them a small piece of equity and like literally hand off 80% of the work, 90% of the work. I do this regularly because
Mhm.
people, they get to learn, they get some equity in a deal, and then I coach them through, hey, this is all the stuff you need to do, and go ahead and do your best, and they do fine, right? And then I can just focus on my time on what I'm best at, which is like creative deal structure, detailed underwriting, hiring more people, that kind of thing. So I think I definitely hear you on how it can be intimidating because you currently don't feel like you have those support resources or time to do it as well as you want it. But the only way I think to start to feel like you're going to have more of those opportunities to hand stuff off is to bring in more revenue, right? So it's a catch 22, right? If you had $10,000 a month of cash flow from your properties now, it would be a no-brainer to be like, oh, dude, I need to hire a VA for $1,000 a month to just hand off all the admin stuff, and I need to maybe just hand off property management to someone that's like a pro at that. And it just wouldn't matter because you had the cash. And so I think first and foremost, you just have to realize like some of the fear you have is just based on not having enough resources. And the only way to go get more resources is to buy more deals to improve the system further. So
Yeah.
it's just funny how it's a little bit of a catch 22, but I think if you do what you want to do every 2 years, there's no reason you can't do it every year, is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I think at a minimum, that's what I would say is like your biggest opportunity is shorten your timeline by half. And all I think it's going to give you is more learning opportunities faster and more cash flow faster. And there's no reason you shouldn't be using a owner occupied loan once a year, because every single year you can get an owner occupied loan, right? Every 12 months.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest opportunity for most new investors is to use that every year. So when I got started, I used that every year. For the first 3 years, minimum, you need to be using it every year. And that's like the biggest opportunity I see for you. And then the next one, I think, is if you've made it work with a duplex, you can definitely make it work with a fourplex, right? And how are you looking for subsequent deals? If you found an incredible deal tomorrow and it hasn't been 2 years since you bought your first one, do you wait or do you pass up like $500,000 in equity gain and $1,500 a month in cash flow, or do you just make it happen? You should just make it happen if
Yeah.
you find an incredible deal. Let's talk about that, like opportunities to find incredible deals. How are you finding your next one?
So our current one, it was on the MLS, and I found it that way. And within one day of it being on, we toured it and wrote an offer. And so I knew that with interest rates being where they were, our interest rate was 5.75, that we would need, or we wanted 2,500 in rent to be more than half of our mortgage, to save and be ready to buy again and have the money we needed to remodel it and get it where we wanted it and then take care of them as well. And so we got that. It's North Tacoma, so we're getting 2,500 in rent. So the ugliest house on our street for sure, by far. You can tell the guy did all the fixing and painting and everything himself and was not trained to do so. So YouTube certified for sure. So we saw the opportunity there and the equity we could gain. And so that's what we did. And we remodeled the upstairs unit and not ours. And so when we remodel ours, we think we can get 29 for it as well. And so it should be good. But as of now, if we rented it, it'd be 26, maybe 27. So
Mm-hmm.
because we're in the larger one. And so looking for the next one, I look at the MLS constantly since I'm a realtor and I have lots of clients that are trying to house hack as well and look for duplexes and multifamilies. I'm on the Wari page, and so I look at the off-market deals offered there. And I also work at a great brokerage where we're very collaborative and we talk about off-market deals too. I've done a lot of off-market deals for clients just by showing up at my office and having conversations with people who haven't signed a listing yet and know of something coming. And I'll just encourage them to sell it to one of my clients off market. And
Okay.
so definitely hoping to find more of an off market deal for the next one, just to hopefully save a little more. We were competing for this current duplex, so we had to go up a little more. We got the closing costs we wanted, but I didn't love the numbers. I love the location and I love the potential of it. Like, I think long term, it was a really great investment, but short term, it's just not big numbers for when we run out both sides. And I'm very open to a fourplex. My husband is just very out of the real estate world, and so it just intimidates him. But I feel confident. He didn't want a duplex either, and he is happy in our duplex and sees the thing. So I'll just keep planting the seeds, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Okay, so you found your first one on the MLS, and you were the first one there. It sounded like you made an offer and it was accepted quickly, and you just got it done before other people could see it. Okay, great. And you've just bought one deal, so you don't have a big sample size, but your next deal you would like to buy either on market as you found the first one or off market. So since you're a full-time agent, I don't recommend, and do you like being in a full-time agent? Do you like that job?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Since you have a job you like, I don't recommend starting your own off-market acquisitions. If you were like, all I care about is investment and I need to get to 10 grand a month in the next 3 years, I'd be like, you should probably quit being an agent and start off-market acquisitions like yesterday. But since you like your job and you have like more modest goals and you're doing investing on the side to grow wealth slowly, which is great, I think you don't need to do off-market acquisitions because that's what I do. That's what like wholesalers do. And that's how we get deals. But this is my only job is finding off-market deals and adding to the portfolio and et cetera. So, and I love this job. I would prefer not to be an agent. And so I just do what I'm good at. And so I think you should stick with doing what you're good at, but add a little bit to it, which is if you can build just a few wholesaler relationships, literally by time blocking, I'm talking about 15 to 30 minutes a week, where you are literally just committed to every week checking in with one of these wholesalers or doing something to build further a relationship, right? You're already in a relationship business, which is real estate sales. So now what I'm saying I think would benefit you greatly is if you start focusing on building relationships with people that can bring you off market deals. You don't have time, it's not the best opportunity for you to go get deals yourself. But since you're already good at building relationships and you're good at real estate sales for others, why not start building relationships with people that are like you, but do it off market? So that's the first thing I would recommend to you if I was in your position, like time block 15 to 30 minutes every single week and check in with wholesalers. How do you find wholesalers? I have gotten many deals from people that posted on Wari. They posted an insanely good deal and I didn't get that deal because they sold it to someone else. But what I did do is like notice the ones that found the best deals and go, oh shoot, that person found an amazing deal. Maybe I just need to build a relationship with that person. And maybe if they're cool after a while, they'll send me a deal that they don't even post on Wari. And so I've gotten multiple deals done in that exact way where I just noticed someone that posted an amazing deal and I go, hey, I would love to be a backup buyer for that, but I'm sure you have a ton of interest. Hey, I'd love to show you my duplex. I'd love to buy you a coffee or stop by your flip project. Just learn the basics of flip. Tell me the most important thing about flips in 10 minutes at your flip. I'll stop by and make it super easy for you. And just build a relationship. And I've done that multiple times. And because of that, and then following up with those people literally weekly. So one of my best deals, I bought this guy posted on Wari, an amazing deal in Seattle. I didn't get it, but I followed up with him once a week and I said, hey man, I'm a backup buyer for that deal. Hey, can I stop by your flip? Hey, what are you doing this week? Do you want to come sauna with me? It's like literally just start becoming friends with them, check in on them. And 3 weeks later, this guy calls me and goes, hey, that Seattle deal is sold. Sorry, but thank you for your interest. And I just got this Tacoma triplex. Do you want to come look at it? My wife says we're too busy with our flips. I can't take it on. Guess what? I went down there The triplex has like water and mountain views from every unit, and I got it for $210,000 in central Tacoma. And it's 3 weeks after he posted that amazing deal, right? So someone that gets an amazing deal, guess what? It's usually not their only one. They're gonna get another one. And if they don't have to blast it to the groups, they don't want to. If they know Julia is like, oh, she's gonna buy a duplex from me in this price range in this area, then they'd rather just sell it directly to you. I know for sure. That's my favorite thing. As a wholesaler myself, we do $500,000 in assignment fees a year. If I don't want to blast it. If I know I can call Julia, and because I know she wants a cash flowing duplex in North Tacoma, and she's willing to pay 500 for it or whatever the price is, then I just want to call you. And so that would be a big opportunity for you with minimal effort. I'm trying to give you things that are initially minimal effort, because if I tell you things that are big effort, you won't do it. So if you time block 15 to 30 minutes a week to build relationships with wholesalers, that it might take 6 months, it might take 12 months, but it will pay off. And you're going to make six figures on those small relationship investments. And worst case, you're going to make a friend or two too. So that's an obvious one for you. And then the other thing I want to talk about is on market. You understand what it's like to be the first one there and get the deal that way. And what I want to talk to you about exploring is being the last one there. Do you often browse properties that have been sitting for months?
Yes.
Okay. That's a huge opportunity. That's another one. So most of my deals that I've bought on market, and by the way, one of my mentors exclusively buys on market, almost never buys off market. There's millions of dollars sitting on market. So I know you just told me at the beginning of this, you're like, hey, maybe I want my next one to be off market. It doesn't matter. There's amazing deals on market and off market. So don't think off market's better. I've gotten amazing both on and off. With on market deals, yeah, I think right now the market's kind of hot. And so I think just consider actually setting up searches for stuff that's been sitting more than 2-3 months and just continuing to like chip away at some of those deals. And no matter what your valuation is of that property, make the offer. So I've gotten many deals done that way by being the last one there. By the time the seller's just been beaten down by the market over and over, finally they're like, all right, let's work together, let's figure it out, and maybe we'll meet somewhere in the middle. But if I've performed an analysis, I never waste that opportunity by not submitting the offer unless we're like 300 grand off. I submit at least 5 to 10 offers on mobile home parks per week and at least 5 properties on residential properties per week. So at least I would say 15 offers a week. And we get about 1 contract per month. It takes a lot of offers, right? So out of 40 to 60 offers a month, I'm only getting 1 contract. And that's what it takes sometimes. It just takes volume. I think most people getting started dramatically underestimate the volume it takes to play this game at the highest level. So something to consider there is like, how many offers do you think you're making per week or per month right now? Okay, so yeah, I think most people when they're getting started, and myself for the first multiple years, just dramatically underestimate the volume it takes to play this game at a high level. And so I'm curious for you, how many offers do you think you're making per week or per month, if any? How many deals are you analyzing per week, per month as well?
For myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we're not really looking. So we told ourselves we'd wait another year before getting serious about doing another multifamily. And so none right now. And the second one was for the one we're currently living in. So I'm looking every day. I'm staying in touch with listing agents and things. Since I'm a realtor, like I'm making those connections often and at least introducing myself when I do have interest. And I just try not to write an offer really unless we're going to be the winning offer, or at least very close to it, since Tacoma is a multiple offer city for the most part.
That makes sense. How about for the ones
I would say too, I probably have fear of writing lowball offers or writing offers that, that I should just throw out there, especially for the homes that have been sitting for a while that I see more opportunity in. And so I could be better about that for our next one, is just crunching the numbers, seeing what would make more sense for me and just putting it out there. And if it gets rejected, moving on. And so.
Got it. So do you still have fear about writing lowball offers on properties that you've seen sitting for 3, 4, 5 months?
It was interesting doing it for myself. I did. When I do it for other clients, I don't at all. I'm like, I'll tell them what I think and I'll write it and I'll defend them and negotiate and advocate. I'm like, yeah, but when it was it for myself, I was the same fierce realtor I feel like I am for others. And so that was
Yeah,
an interesting shift.
sure. And that's why, like, even though I can negotiate probably quite well on my own behalf, I still like there's an emotional component when it's for yourself that you can't fully remove yourself from the negotiation.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to Inspectify, our partner that is transforming the way properties are inspected. Whether it's new construction, acquisitions, sales, unit turns, or renovations, Inspectify can capture your inspection data swiftly and efficiently. Customizable inspection scopes, cutting edge tech, and an API integration promise high fidelity property data with every report. They also have unique insight into permits and appliances, protecting your investment from potential pitfalls. Ready at a moment's notice, Inspectify ensures excellence with proprietary tech, top-notch customer service, and coast-to-coast coverage. Want to learn more about what Inspectify can do for you? Listen to episode 30 of the podcast, where I interview CEO Josh Jensen. Don't wait. Visit inspectify.com now and enter the future of property inspection with Inspectify.
What do you think is, if you could only name one issue, what do you think is the issue with properties that have been sitting on the market for 3 to 6 months? What is the number one problem with those properties?
Overpriced.
100%. If they were priced a lot better, they would sell faster.
Yeah.
And so if it's overpriced and you write an offer that's under the price, are you submitting a lowball or are you submitting a market price offer that they might just not be aware that the market price is lower than what they think it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the big difference is you need to I think it's great to submit offers that are market price, but that's a different story than submitting a market price offer for something that's mispriced.
Yeah.
So if it's been sitting, it's always going to feel like a lowball because the price is almost always wrong. If it was right, it would have sold a long time ago. So I think that's an interesting one where it's just like, in most cases, the seller just doesn't care, right? They're just like, this is the price I want. Why? Because I want it. All right. That's not the price of the property. So I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Here's what I believe to be a market price. Here's why. And then leave it alone. If they don't want to talk at all, no problem. But if you've already analyzed the deal, you're wasting your time if you're not submitting what you believe is the market price, I think. So
Yeah.
I think that could be an opportunity for you too. It's just, I know there's a little bit of confrontation associated with it because it's, hey, I know you want 1 million, but here's 700, right? And so it's like, I know this isn't what you want, but you could also just be honest with people. And we are very honest with people. We're not doing hard sales. We're just letting people know, hey, we don't want to offend you. We ran our numbers and it's a lot lower than what you're asking. So we didn't want to craft the entire offer and spend our time because we're so far apart. And you could also just tell them like, hey, we put in the work to figure out what it is, but we just didn't want to put it in front of you because we don't want to offend you. And they often will be curious. All right, what's the number? And then you could just throw out a number and now they've asked for you. Like you've already told them it's going to be low and you don't want to offend them. And if they ask, then you can still put it in front of them. And then you can probably, after that, you can usually have a real discussion about, they'll tell you where they really want to be at or need to be at. Oh, okay, I can't take 700, but look, my minimum is 850. And then you can just rerun your numbers and see if you can get any closer. But I think if you don't even submit the offer, you're not going to have the opportunity for a conversation. So just like a small opportunity for you to throw out a few more of those and have those discussions and deliver them lightly. Like I just said, you don't have to be like, it's 700 and it sucks for these reasons. You don't have to be harsh with people. I think you could still be gentle with people and get your point across if you're going to be doing the analysis. Yeah, I just think that's another small opportunity for you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great feedback.
All right. So now that we've talked, do you feel like there's anything that you might want to do differently or change about like how you're approaching your investing goals? Or Are you pretty satisfied with the path that you're on?
I didn't realize how much I was clenching my fist throughout this, like holding on to my comfort zone until you broke a lot of this down. And a lot of it's just fear, right? But I guess I was holding on to the courage of even doing my first duplex and getting my first tenant. And that's good. And that is like momentum I need to carry forward. Like momentum will stop eventually if you don't continue it yourself. And so I have been clenching my fists around like the $500 and just picturing that that's not enough. I have to open up to the other opportunities that will come to me and bring in more than the 500 we'll get from our current duplex. And that's how we'll get there. And so definitely need to step it up and go by year, which we go back and forth on. It's the fear. And this is something that I have to take lead on, that my husband has told me before. This is your department. It's not mine. He still had the dream of your first home is your forever home type mindset, which is pretty outdated in today's world. It's not realistic anymore at all for the most part, and to let go of that. But he's always just been like, you have to take lead. I don't know this. And that can be an intimidating thing too, when it's both of our lives. And I'm like, okay. And I just got to take the leap and continue looking for opportunities. And yeah, I think too, we just need to connect with our lender now after tax season and just look at our numbers and just see where we're at too, just so that way, if an opportunity does come up that we are comfortable with, we already know where we're at. And I think, and it's funny because that's like the main thing I tell potential clients. They want to, oh, I'm not ready for a lender yet. I'm not ready to look at this and that. And it's then you're making decisions based on assumptions, right? You're assuming you couldn't get the loan. You're assuming you couldn't afford your mortgage. I don't want you to make decisions on assumptions. I want you to make decisions based on facts. If you apply and you realize you don't qualify for what you want or your mortgage isn't where you want it, then it's time to create a game plan on how to change those numbers to be something that you feel confident in. So it is very funny how I am not the same realtor to myself that I am to others. And I need to work on that. And we need to do by year right now. We need to every year have a different property and get out of our comfort zone a bit. So we're hitting 1 year this May, like I said. And so we've talked about buying this year, and we're wanting to wait a few more months until the cool down after the summer, unless something great comes up. Like I said, I'm looking all the time. So I also like just how much you simplified a lot of this. Like it's so easy to get in my head about, especially I listen to so many podcasts. I'm surrounded by amazing investors and people that just have these incredible empires like yourself. And so it's hard sometimes to feel like I need to jump to make it to them, but it's not a jump, it's a step. And I need to just focus on that next step. And networking is something that's very attainable that I can definitely do. Reaching out to our lender to know our numbers right now is attainable and something I can do. And then keeping an eye out on homes that not only go of the off market and just focus on what I'm comfortable with, which is our market and the MLS, and keep an eye out. I toured 2 last week that have been sitting for over 80 days. And it's a seller's market. So when homes are sitting that long, they're panicked. There's no way they're not. And so there's always opportunity when right? If you can stay calm and steady, you can take opportunity out of the fear that a lot of other people are feeling.
I love it, Julia. It's great to talk with you. I think you're on a great path. It's super exciting to be where you're at. So just enjoy it. And thanks for talking with me today. And thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And please let us know, how can we get connected with you? What's the best way for someone to reach out to learn more about this?
Sure. I think the best way to reach me is typically going to be on Facebook. Like I said, I run that big investor community. It's totally free. Join the group. It's called WARI, Washington Real Estate Investing. Find me on there, send me a message, comment on something I post, and I'd love to talk with you. If you're interested in any sort of classes that I put on, it's called the WARI Masterclass. That's basically a 6-week class, full weekend in person, 4 Zoom calls, project walkthroughs, 3 one-on-ones with me. And I do that twice a year. That's a really fun thing. If you are just getting started and you want like a deep dive into A to Z, how do I start buying off-market, on-market property rentals, flips, novations, subject to seller financing. How do I figure out all the basics of everything I need to do like my first 10 deals really effectively? And I do that twice a year. Also teach seller financing mobile home parks. That's really fun. mhparkacademy.com. And this summer this is for more experienced investors. We're doing our first mastermind, the WARI. So come and learn about that if you're a more experienced investor and you're just trying to continue to level up. Come and hang out with us this summer for a mastermind. So that's what I've got for you guys. Come and find me on WARI. If you don't want to pay for any of that stuff, no problem. Come and learn for free on WARI. There's tons of great free content and would love to chat with you on there. So that is how you can reach out.
Awesome.